because there was a lot of the first complaints edition I did, it was a lot of me defending myself. And this woman says, "You do not have to defend yourself. I only learned about this missing woman through you, not her mom. Just do what you do. Sadly, she isn't coming back. She is most likely deceased, but she deserves justice. You were right. Her past life tells her story and helps. Hopefully someone can step up and raise these children." So thank you so much for the positive comment. I really appreciate it. Um, so one of the biggest criticisms I've had on this whole thing has been, her past doesn't matter. What she did in the past doesn't matter. Why are you looking into that? It doesn't matter. All you're doing is slandering the name. All you're doing is throwing dirt on her and whatnot. Now, when I bring up her past, it is not to throw dirt. It is not to sling mud. It's not to slander. It's not to make her look bad. But you have to look, when you look at a missing person case, you have to look at every part of that person. Her past, her present, the people around her, the people she's friends with. You have to look at all of that. And if she had a history of drugs, if she had a history of prostitution, if she had a history of running away, all these things come into play because that is part of a behavior. Even a past behavior can explain a future or current one. So that's why I bring that up because, again, you have to address all that. Let's see. Now, here, about a month ago, I got a condolence message from my light skin type person. She was actually one of the first commentators I had on this channel. I haven't heard from her in a little while, so I hope she's okay. But she was a little critical in the beginning and then has since softened to me a little bit, I guess, or maybe I've softened. I don't know. You take your pick on that. But and this is something that has come up here recently. I mentioned in a video I did about a month ago about how my husband died, or that I lost my husband. It'll be it's been 2 years, and I will tell you, his life and his death deeply affected me. I was married to him for almost 22 years. So I was with him for 22 years, and I was married to him for almost as long. He was a complicated person. He had a substance abuse problem, especially with alcohol and with opioids. And when you have someone who lives that life, it makes it very, very difficult and complicated for everyone else around. The abuse was bad. I mean, you name it, it was just bad. Now, there is a YouTuber out there, or I don't even know if she even has a channel. She might just be strictly on Facebook. But her name is AJ Always Something. And she really, really likes to just try to annihilate somebody. If she doesn't like you, watch out, man. Let me tell you, she is just diabolical. And she went so far as to research me a little bit, which is fine. I mean, it's what you do. And but she found out, about my husband, which again wasn't a big secret because I've talked about it ad nauseum too over the last few months. And she posted on Facebook. She said, "You told everyone your husband died of a seizure. And then you had a GoFundMe and a memorial concert. Why are you protecting him when he had an history of alcohol abuse?" And so I did a live on Facebook a few days ago regarding that because I was upset. I was mad, like, how dare she get into my personal life? But at the same time, I'm doing that to somebody else. I'm looking into the personal life of Marissa Carmichael in the hopes of finding her. So I guess one bad deed doesn't excuse another. You know, um, but it is what it is. And so I had to go live and explain my husband's death again. No, he did not die of a seizure. He died of a blunt force trauma in a car accident because he wrapped the car around a tree. But what caused that accident was him having an epileptic seizure. That's what I was told at the hospital. And if you want to subpoena his medical records, it'll say that in there too. Yes, he had a history of drug and alcohol abuse. Yes, he, wasn't supposed to be driving, but, he was a grown man and he wanted to do what he wanted to do. But he was not drunk that morning. It was 6 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning when I left him to go to work, and I got the call at 8 a.m. that he was dead. He died around 7:15. So I don't know. Like I said, you take what you want from that. So yeah, that's been the latest thing here. My biggest critics have been these true crime YouTubers and podcasters, and their minions have been coming after me and saying things and questioning me on all of that. And they're saying I'm being cruel. My behavior's been appalling. My comments are just disrespectful and whatnot. And I guess it's possible. I mean, I've had other people tell me no, but I've had some people say yeah. So I guess it's just all in how you see it. I will say I think I got way more critical as time went on because it didn't make sense to me why her family was basically doing nothing. I mean, in the beginning, you saw them like coming out in force, doing protests and all that. Like, protesting what? You're at the Airbnb where she actually never went in, and you're protesting what exactly? That made no sense. They were making demands. Bring Marissa home. Give us Marissa. Yada yada yada. And they had this orange T-shirts with Marissa's picture on the front, and they also had shirts on with Shawnee Leely's picture on it, calling him a kidnapper and everything. And here I'm the one getting yelled at for slander. So there's no proof that he did anything, and you're doing that? That's crazy. So if he gets found to be completely innocent, yeah, some people are getting sued. Just saying. So, yeah, I'm not the one that that needs to worry. So let's see here. Looking for all my... Okay, and then there's that woman again, white girl power, or ya mama warned ya, saying, why are you speaking on her mother? Why not? I mean, come on, why not? I mean, she's the one doing the circuit of true crime podcasts. I mean, I don't blame her. I mean, not hating. I mean, you want to keep Marissa's name out there? I completely support that. But you going out there with a narrative you're telling people, that's wrong. Like, she gets on there and she's like, yeah, Marissa went missing, and Marissa was convinced to go out of the house and leave and go out and party, and she was supposed to be at work that night, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, Marissa didn't need to be convinced. There's text messages between her and Mo planning the night. So that's lie number one. Lie number two, Marissa actually got in trouble with the law a few times. One of the last times she has an assault charge that she's dealing with, and she got into it with her friends. And Sarah went around telling people that the fight was because one of these friends insulted her child with skeletal dysplasia. The little boy doesn't have arms, which is very, very sad. And that Marissa went over there and beat this woman down because she insulted her son. Truth is, Marissa was sleeping with this woman's man. I'm going to say that again for those in the back. Marissa was sleeping with this woman's boyfriend. So, yeah. And to go further from that, over the course of the last 4, almost 5 months, everybody we've talked to, not everybody, but a good many of the people we talked to that were giving us more insight on Marissa and how her life was and what she did and whatnot, made it very clear that she really liked men. Really liked men. I mean, she was. I had someone tell me that liked to kind of get around a little bit. They said I was very popular. Marissa was very popular, and but the thing is, though, she lived her life the way she wanted to. She didn't not do something because someone told her not to. She did it anyway. I mean, that's just who she is. And more power to her. But it's possible living that life may be what caused her to go missing. And that's what we have to find out. At the end of the day, we just need to find out where she is and what happened. So let's go on. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. So for the people in the back, that's another episode I did about a month ago. And J Squad 1827, my favorite commentators. And why block us? We know all this is BS lies. Yeah, I didn't block you, so I don't know what that's about. And then there's this one like, we haven't gave up yet because we're not that shallow, says the one that blocked me and my crew when we are trying to give information on what we've seen and where at. You and Rain's group needs to back off from here on out. Now, I've gotten a few of these kind of messages where I've been told to back off, be quiet, I'm going to get hurt, they're going to hurt somebody I know. I get a lot of that. And then I get accused of being a bully. I'm sorry, who's being the bully? You're threatening me. So, it is what it is. But, and then there's some other comments, where some language was being used and whatnot. And I mean, I know one thing is people have actually asked J Squad to do a live interview with me, to do a back and forth, to discuss our opinions and theories, but she's never taken me up on it. And the other narrative also that Sarah's putting out there is that Marissa's being trafficked sexually. No evidence of that either. The detective told us that. He said, she's not being trafficked. He's like, there's been too much press coverage for her. There's no way on earth she's being trafficked. He said, of course, I have no proof saying she isn't being trafficked. He said, but I don't believe she's being trafficked. And there's that. So, yeah, Sarah's really sticking to that sex trafficking narrative, which I don't believe is the case. Because if you look at it logically, one of 3 scenarios has happened. She's either run off on her own, she's being trafficked, or she is unalive. One of those 3. So to be run off on her own, you need money, you need help, you need all these things. She didn't have the money to do that, and not for this long. It's been, like I said, almost 5 months. And then you have the being trafficked, which the detective already said there's no evidence of that. And the last one, unalive. And after all the time, that is where we really need to kind of focus on, is on that last one. I hate to say that, but it is what it is. I mean, this is what happens when people disappear for this time. You got to assume that they're no longer present on the planet. So, and as a mother, I can understand that. I mean, Sarah literally had her head in the sand on that, and I don't blame her for doing that. Early on in our chats, before she decided to not like me anymore, and honestly, where that line came, I was speaking on Marissa, and she was agreeing with everything I was saying. And when I started talking about Mo, she gave Mo my phone number, Mo Dallas. And then Mo Dallas called me and made a threat. And I was like, what the heck? So at that point, Sarah was persona non grata to me. But yeah, it's all been crazy. Like right here, J Squad. A month ago, I did a episode called "Sean in Jersey Didn't Do It," and this is after I've already talked to the detective, and I basically, put out there. He said Sean in Jersey didn't do it. Like he told us, I've investigated both of these guys. They've cooperated fully. Blah 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 blah. They didn't do it. And J Squad said, "You all need to stop coming for my people and blasting them out on social media platforms. Y'all are going to end up getting hurt, so stop with all the bullshit." Now tell me that's not a threat. Y'all are going to get hurt, but it is what it is. So, yeah, so there's that. Let's see here. I mean, I've done some calling out of the Greensboro police, and at this point, because again, we're getting to 5 months, is her case now going cold? Is that what's happening? Is it, or do we have a detective that's just overwhelmed and understaffed or inexperienced? I don't know. But we've been given some leads, like she's somewhere in Trinity or she's over at this abandoned house in Greensboro. We've had some leads, but very little follow up with police force on that. And I don't know what to do about that because, we're talking about private property. So it's not like I can go traipsing and go searching in people's backyards. I mean, I don't want to get shot. So that's one issue we have right there. So let's see. Oh yeah, here's my other favorite commentator, Tasha Poplin. Oh, Tasha. So she was somebody who just likes to pop on and make comments. She early on when I first started doing this, and she her first comment was, "I can't have you banned, so I'm going to watch all your videos and leave comments." I'm like, okay, that gives me more screen time and more subscribers and more views and all that fun stuff. So go right ahead. And it's just really funny. But I mean, she will say stuff like whack as fuck or she's on about the shovel. I mean, we may be wrong on the shovel. I mean, it was told that Tasha had found the shovel by the Airbnb and that it was put in her car, but then we were told there's no blood on the shovel and she didn't find it, somebody else did. So I'm not even sure what the actual story on that is. And then she also said I need to stop telling that her story had changed. And I think this is one of my favorites. "No, I comment as I'm watching. Thanks." That was funny. I had a lot of comments from her. So, oh, yes, when the shooting at the MAG event. Wow. Yeah, that's one thing. I don't understand how Mo Dallas is still not being investigated fully because between Marissa being missing and him having a physical relationship with her, like a sexual physical relationship with her, a lot of his parties over the course of a few months were getting shot up. People were getting killed. So I'm just shocked that he's able to still do business here. Because it just seems like, I mean, I'm not saying he's causing the shootings and he's making people shoot, but he's just bad luck. He's had some dancers that have either died mysteriously or have disappeared. And I have a list somewhere, but I had to get it from that person again. So, but, I mean, one of the biggest comments has been, why isn't GPD commenting on this? And they just haven't been commenting. I had asked the detective that, a few months ago, and I asked him, I said, why aren't you making a statement? It's been all this time. What's going on? He said, we have nothing new to report. And they're still sticking to that. So now let's see here. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the comments. I mean, I've had some negative ones. I've had a lot on Facebook, but let me go over to something else that has happened since I started doing this channel. I've actually had people reaching out to my kids, telling them I need to stop. My oldest daughter got a comment a couple of days ago from a person who obviously created a fake profile because none of it made any sense. They originally tried to get on my live to make comments, but for whatever reason, my Facebook Live had limited how many people were allowed to comment, and I still have not figured out how to fix that. But this person literally just sent my daughter this message, and it's crazy. I'm gonna pull it up and read it to you because she was like, "Mom, people sending stuff to me again," and I'm like, "Okay, sorry." And I was mad. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's the second time this has happened, and I was ticked off beyond belief. I was really, really mad because how dare you? You know, like it'd be one thing if I had said something to somebody else's kid or my kids were commenting and they're not even involved. They don't even watch my channel because they're embarrassed I'm even doing this thing. Drives her crazy. So this came from a fake profile called Yanfit Irma. I have no idea. I mean, it's obviously like a name backwards. But they said, "Is your mom Rebecca?" And then they sent a YouTube link. And this is the YouTube channel, a YouTube video that I actually have taken down. I had titled it "Emma Villegas Can Go to Hell" because I was pretty mad because Emma was the first person that had reached out to my daughter and just ticked me off beyond belief. Hi, Christina. I see that you put it in the chat. So, what I'm talking about is all the complaints I've had about the channel, just going over those and just talking about it. But so Emma Villegas, who is the younger sister of Marissa Carmichael. Now, keep in mind, this girl's a legit adult. She's like 18, almost 19 years old. So she's an adult. She's not a kid. Just like my kids are adults. You know, my oldest is 24. And the one that was messaged is about to be 22. And my youngest is 19. So that's their ages. So, and when I talk about my kids, I mean, I'm not talking about small kids. I mean, they're my kids. I don't care if they're 50, they're still my kids. But the fact that you had reached out to anybody in my family, that's ridiculous. I mean, you should have reached out to me first and always just me. You don't reach out to my family because they have nothing to do with this channel. Absolutely nothing. And it made me mad. So I did this live on Facebook and I was yelling. And I made it clear to Emma if she ever reached out to one of my kids again, I'd be coming into High Point and we were going to be having a conversation. And that was taken as a threat. I can see where you would go with that. And then, so let me read this thing. It says, "Is your mom Rebecca?" Then YouTube link. "This is your mom attacking the sister of a missing mother of 5." And then it says attacking again because the first time they put it in there, they put attaching, and then they correct themselves attacking. And they said, "Emma is the sister of Marissa Carmichael, and this is the video she made threatening her after Emma contacted you. I'm really sorry that's your mom. I can't imagine the hell you live with. She seems so unhinged." So Taylor reached out to me, and she said, "You threatened her?" I said, "No." She's like, "I'm going to watch the video. I think I'll decide that for myself." I said, "Okay." And then she wrote back going, "I'm so conflicted after watching that." I said, "Think what you want." I deleted it. And she said, "No, it's just, I still don't like this, but that was wildly entertaining. If it wasn't for the fact I'm related to you, I just might watch it in my free time." I said, "Okay." That was the conversation we had about that video. Because she was just like, So when I got back to the house, I was out doing something. I came home and she was like, "No, you weren't threatening her." Mm-mm. I'm not one to threaten people. Okay, let's be real here. It's just not what I do. It's not who I am. I'll make some statements. I will say this: if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. But I don't threaten people. No. But I will talk to you like you're 5, make you feel bad about what you did. So, and that's the thing that gets me is everybody is coming at me like I'm yelling at a small child that happened to be related to a missing person. Wrong. I'm yelling at an adult woman who took it upon herself to involve herself and comment on a channel that she doesn't like. So if she's going to say something to me, I'm going to say something back. If she's going to say something to one of my kids, I'm going to say something back. And that's how that works. So she's not a kid, she's an adult. In fact, she's got comments all over my YouTube channel, especially in the beginning. She was really commenting. So there's that one. I also had another person named Taisha Terry or Taisha Terry. I'm not sure how her name's pronounced, but she says I'm schizophrenic. I thought that was great. She kept saying, "Block this bitch, block this hoe." I don't know why you would call yourself a hoe, but this was a person who apparently is like good friends or best friends with Emma Villegas. And okay, bully for you. But yeah, she went on and on saying I was unhinged, I was crazy, and I needed to go back to take my schizophrenia medication. So, Taisha, let me tell you something. To make a statement like that is very, very, what's the word I want to, so not PC. To insinuate someone has mental issues is, again, not good. To define and give a diagnosis of a mental issue is also not good. Specifically because if you knew anything about schizophrenia, you sure as hell wouldn't be calling me a schizophrenic. I unfortunately do know what schizophrenia looks like because I've had multiple relatives on my side and my husband's side of the family with it. So I do know what schizophrenia looks like. I'm not schizophrenic. So sorry to tell you that I'm not going to take my schizophrenia medication because I do not have any. So there was that. Yeah, like I said, too many people making their comments, making threads. It is just, it's just a mess. And here are some of Emma's comments. And this is where I kind of got her in a lie. Let's see, because I made the comment about how the kids were in foster care. And she said, "They are with the father now, FYI. You all really got stuff all wrong, and Mo is also not related." Okay, so we all knew Mo was not related. Mo was telling the news people he was Marissa's cousin because they had the title under his name. So that was him. That was not me. And no, the kids are not with Mo, with Smoke, who has multiple names, by the way. Smoke is his, I guess, street name. Charles Lindsay is one name that he uses. I believe that's his alias. His actual name is Gamel McIntyre. What's up with the aliases? I have no idea. But, those kids have been in foster care since like October, November of last year because of a domestic issue. I believe the child with no arms got hurt, and the kids were all pulled. So, and he has since been charged with child abuse. He's in court for it. He's going to be dealing with that for a little while. And he also has a history of domestic violence charges against different women, Marissa being one of them. And he has been, it's been said to me by someone who witnessed this, that he said to Marissa, "I hate you. You're the worst mistake I've ever made." And she's also said to the same person who told me this that if anything ever happened to her, Smoke did it. So if you look at all the evidence of everything, if you look at the court records of just all the domestic violence and the drug charges, and I mean, this guy's even got animal abuse charges. Do you know what you have to do to get animal abuse charges? I mean, those animal control really do not go out of their way to take pets away and charge people with stuff. They really don't. So you had to do something pretty darn bad to get animal abuse charges. Just saying. And that also speaks to a whole other personality issue with him, because if you abuse an animal to that point where you get animal abuse charges, that means you could give a darn less about a human being. And I think that just leads more to the possibility that he may have done something to her. Because going through this case and just talking to different people and seeing different things online and other chats and whatnot, he really did not like her. And it came across that he was obsessed with her. He was very controlling. Before she met him, she was involved with another guy named Jonathan White. And it seemed like he was a good guy, and she really enjoyed being with him. Because Marissa started off having kids at like 15. She was like 14 when she got pregnant, 15 when she had her oldest kid. And then over time, she met with Smoke, and then they had, 4 more kids. But Jonathan White was somebody that she got with, I want to say she was about 16 years old, and he was like 23. And they were together, and Jonathan White and Smoke were very, very good friends. And he was unfortunately killed in a robbery gone wrong. So, and then it was like right after that, Smoke and Marissa got together, and she was like 17 and he was like 32. Yeah. And absolutely crazy. And then they had 4 other children together. But there is a conspiracy theory floating around that, okay, if he met Marissa and was obsessed with Marissa instantaneously, would he be obsessed enough to take out his own friend to get her? And that's the question. Is he? And there's no proof to any of this, but this is just a theory that people are putting out there, and one I'm putting out there. Because I mean, I understand, you can't really ignore any potential lead. You really can't. And I consider that a lead. I really do. Or at least a lead towards a motive. Because I think when it comes to a case like this, or most cases where people go missing, or there's a homicide involved, it comes down to basically 2 reasons: money or sex. And money or sex, one of the 2. And he was obsessed with her. And I mean, I think it goes to sex, it really does. If the prostitution angle is proven, that could lead towards a motive of him hurting her to the point where she is no longer alive. And that's a very sad thing. I understand a situation like that all too well. My late husband, he didn't pay too much attention to me, but he didn't want anybody else paying attention to me. And if they did, there was hell to pay on my side. And that's something I dealt with for 2 decades. And so I understand that psychology all too well. But like I said, I don't know if that was what the reason was. I mean, one theory is that night she left High Point, stopped at someplace in Greensboro, bought some pills. I believe it was Xanax, from what I understand. And then went to Mo's house, slept with Mo. Naja went to her boyfriend's house. She and Mo went to some billiard place. And then they went to the 117 Sofa Lounge. right there on Green Street in downtown Greensboro. Now, the other thing is there's that. And then, she left the club with Jersey Moneybag. Now, at that point, they're supposed to be heading over to the 2 to 6, the after hours party at the 444 Gorell Street, the Airbnb. They get there now, and again, we have yet to talk to somebody who says she was actually in the Airbnb. We have no idea she actually made it inside. But a few people have said that they saw her in Jersey's car having sex with Jersey. So there's that. At some point, she and Jersey get into an altercation. He takes her over to the Exxon, tells her to go in there and get some crap, and then throws her purse out and takes off with her phone, which is why she had to call 911. But she called the non-emergency 911. Or she called 911 to get her over to the non-emergency line. Because she was mad, and he took her phone. All her contacts were in there, everything, so she couldn't do anything. And that's when Shawnee Lely comes into play, because he goes to the Exxon lot, he comes in, he's like, do you need a ride? And, this is what, how she ends up in his car. She uses his phone to call people, she calls her stepdad to take the phone to Naja, which someone brought up, and I didn't even think about this. And I would have smacked myself for not even thinking about this. But why did she call her stepdad? Why didn't she call Naja? Is it possible Naja's phone wasn't working? But we have proof that they were texting each other throughout the night, so we know that's not the case. So, it's crazy how it all worked out. So there's that conjecture. Why did she call her stepdad and not Naja first? But he wakes her up, gives her the phone. They have their conversation of, hey, do you know where Jersey is? I need to get my phone, blah, 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 blah. And, she's like, no, I don't know Jersey like that. But she gets in that car with Sean, around, I think she called 911 around 3:41, and she's in the car. She's, in his car calling people. So the question is, who else did she call? Was it, we know she got a hold of Smoke at one point, because Smoke was supposed to have sent her, cashed after some money. So here's my new theory. We were told by another person who was close to the family, to Marissa, Smoke, all of them. We were told by this person that Smoke was paying Tasha to follow Marissa around to keep tabs on her. So how do we know that he didn't go into Greensboro, see her get out of the car with Sean, and then just freaking lose it? Because she was with Sean for a few hours. So before he dropped her off at Cumberland Courts. So what were they doing for those few hours? Now, she's already had sex with Mo. She's already had sex with Jersey. How do we know that Sean didn't partake? We don't know. It's a conjecture right there. But it's a good question. Did Smoke see something that just enraged him to no end? And then we also heard from somebody who said that they were talking to Tasha that night. And she said, yeah, I'm on my way to go get Marissa, or I'm on my way back with Marissa, something along those lines. I can't remember exactly what they said. So why has that not been talked about? Why, or checked into, if that is true? Don't know, waiting on that. So, I will say this, doing this, doing a show like this, you open yourself up for a lot of criticism and a lot of people gunning for you, and it's mentally draining, emotionally draining on all fronts. Someone said, that they have seen a change in me since I've been getting a lot of the criticisms that I've been getting, a lot of the harsh ones anyway. And they said, you're different. You're not, I mean, it just weighs on you heavy, and, you're just not even the same person. And yeah, it's definitely something, you don't go into this lightly. Or if you do, I think a lot of people get out of it quickly if they can't handle it. So I'm not going to lie. I mean, it had me rethinking what I was doing here. But now it's like, okay, I've come this far. Why stop now? So, I mean, once this case with Marissa comes to whatever conclusion it comes to, I'm not going to go away. I'm just going to talk about other cases because there's just so many that can be talked about. So many. I've already talked about Helen Dalton, who is the oldest missing person case in Greensboro, and it's also the oldest missing person case in the state of North Carolina. 61 years. 61 years. And that's never been solved. I think I solved it. The husband did it, but that's just my opinion. And I've also talked about Tiara Cacique Williams, which is another really sad case because she's been missing 8 years. She's from here in Greensboro. Now, that one is one of two scenarios either happened there. She's either actually being trafficked, because she was young. She was like 20 and very petite, pretty girl. So I could very easily see her being overpowered and taken, or she is no longer present because she did meet up with somebody that nobody knew, and we don't know what happened there. But it's been 8 years, and there's no update on her case whatsoever. So I do, like I said, I do these events, or not events, but these videos and whatnot, because there's too many people missing out there, not just here in Greensboro or the state of North Carolina, in the country. Anybody who's a person of color or female, for the most part, they just, their cases are just not taken as seriously as others should be, or as theirs should be, and others are taken more seriously than they probably shouldn't be. So that's one reason why I talk about this, and I try to bring light to these cases, especially Marissa's, because I think normally nobody would have even given it 20 seconds of thought to even talk about this. And that's incredibly sad because, it needs to be talked about. There we go. That's better. But so the next case I will be discussing at some point, and I haven't decided when I'm going to do it yet. I still have a lot of research I got to do. And that's going to be the Atlanta child murders, because that's a case that is quite interesting. I actually remember that case. Well, I remember hearing about the case when I was about, 6 years old, because the murders took place from 1979 to 1981, and the trial of the person they caught happened in like 1982. So I remember seeing magazines around the house or newspapers with this guy, Wayne Williams, with his picture on it. So that was one that always kind of intrigued me a little bit. Like, why did that happen? Because there's a lot of conjecture that the guy in prison, Wayne Williams, didn't do it, or he didn't do all of them, and the Klan's involved. I mean, it's a lot going on with that. So that will be the next case I really discuss in depth once I have time to do the research. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I've been doing this for a few months now, and I think I'm getting more comfortable, but you all would have to tell me if I'm getting any better. But Marissa is always going to be the case that sticks with me if it's never solved. And I actually had another YouTube podcaster. She goes by the screen name TM. She told me, so the first case always sticks with you. And she told me what hers was. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I understand that. So this one's mine. Like I even avoid talking about the Sebastian Rogers case because you're talking about an autistic teenager, and I have an autistic 24-year-old. I don't even talk about Sebastian Rogers because for fear of people accusing me of like I don't know, just exploiting my son in a way. So I don't even go with that. But that is like that's another case that is so sad, so incredibly sad, and who knows where the end result of that's going to be. But there's always cases. There's always people missing. Always people no longer alive. I mean, there's always something to talk about. But like I said, mine are going to be mostly focused on women and people of color. And those are the ones I think need to be talked about the most. So I guess that's all I have for tonight. Like I said, I've been attacked viciously online. And I actually had a criticism from somebody in my group saying I don't go hard. I don't get angry. Oh, trust me, I get angry. I get very, very angry. I just don't think it's good to show it online. I mean, AJ's always something. I mean, who's been the biggest attacker of me, which is crazy because like I got people actually who knew the missing person, Marissa, like knew her, and they have said some stuff to me. But this chick doesn't even know Marissa, and she is like all over my page and everything, saying everything. And people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones because we did some people in the group I belong to did a deep dive on her butt, and let me tell you, wow, criminal history longer than my arm. A lot of fraud, a lot of identity theft, a lot of that stuff. So yeah, so anybody out there in the true crime world that works with AJ Always Something or even talks with her, beware. You make her mad, she's going to make your life hell. And she kind of has on mine, and I just block her on things. So, it is what it is. I mean, the low blow on her end was coming after me about my husband because, and that's the thing I didn't understand. I've never spoken to this woman. I've never commented on her material. I've never commented on a channel. I've not done any of that. But she immediately came after my ass because Sarah was crying and whining. Well, they're being mean to me. Hey, Sarah, stop being. Oh my God, cringeworthy. But yeah, so AJ came at me, and what's funny is we were back and forth with her, my group and I, or the group I belonged to. I shouldn't say my group, but the group I belonged to, and I didn't really say much. I was just watching. They were back and forth with her. And because the group I belong to, and I believe this too, we truly believe Sarah's not telling the truth, flat out. And that podcast she was on that night with Duchess for the Missing and AJ Always Something, they made it sound like they believed every word she said. I mean, that's literally the impression we got when we listened to any of it. And AJ's like, oh, no, I don't believe her. I know she's full of it. And I got proof, and I'm going to lay it out. I'm like, then why the heck are you coming after my ass? If you truly believe that Sarah is not telling the truth, okay, and she's full of it, why are you coming after me? That makes no sense. So, AJ, I'm sure you've got a comment on this, and, I'm sure I'll probably see it, so have at it, whatever. She's probably going to come at me for revealing her criminal history, and you know what? Everybody has a past. I have one too. So, it is what it is. But I do think attacking people's dead relatives and people messaging your relatives that have never commented nor been involved in any of the content, I think that's low because you don't do that. You just don't, it'd be one thing if they were commenting or involved, but they're not. I mean, like I said, up until that second comment, that second message that Taylor got, she had never watched the channel at all and has no desire to do so. But she did say, and it's simply because she's related to me. She said if she wasn't related, she'd watch it all day, which I'm going to take as a compliment. So I'm going to run with that because the kid does not compliment like that. at all, ever. And so there's that. But I've drawn on for almost an hour now, and no one's actually messaging in the chat other than Christina there. So um, if anybody has any questions or comments, I'll be glad to address them or accept them or whatever. And because I got the chat, it's right over there, chat right there. So, and this is my first YouTube live session, which is kind of cool. I've never done a YouTube live, so this is my first one, and this is really neat. And I think I kind of like this more than Facebook, but I have more followers on Facebook than I do on YouTube because I only have like 154 subscribers, and I have almost 1,000 Facebook friends. So but there's less restrictions on commenting and being involved in lives on YouTube. So it is what it is. I will be taking the link from this and putting it on Facebook so people can see it and comment on it on that end too. But yeah, like I said, I got nothing now. So if anybody has any comments, let me know. It'd be great. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I'm not an aggressive individual. I'm not one who screams at people. I don't think you get anywhere with anybody by yelling at them like that. And that's how I feel about that. But like I said before, it is what it is. And this is how I conduct myself. And okay, so we've now hit the hour mark. I really have nothing else I really need to say about Marissa Carmichael at this point because there has been no new information. And I do believe the case is getting kind of frigidly cold. And that's a darn shame because those kids need to know where their mom is. Closure is what, I mean, honestly, her coming back alive is the best outcome, but I just don't see that happening at this point. So I'd like to thank everyone who chimed in and, like Christina with her comment and everybody else who watched. And for the likes, thank you so much, everyone. And so this is Rebecca with Red True Crime. Oh, hi, Stacy. One thing I can't grasp is why they can't at least consider the possibility that you are correct. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, Stacy, because there really is no other information out there. So, and in my opinion, all theories are valid. I mean, the ridiculousness of this case, of how much conjecture and off the wall ideas were coming in at one point, I said, we even need to consider that she's been abducted by aliens. I actually said that in one of our chats because that's the honest to God truth. I mean, some of the stuff that was coming up was just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm just like, why can't we, even consider that? Because personally, I think that's what we need to consider. And I mean, not alien abduction. I know that's not the case, but I mean, the fact that anything is possible. I mean, I'm even willing to accept that Sean may not be just a witness. He may be involved in some way. I mean, I know I keep saying it's Smoke, Tasha, Naja, and Victor, because, we've got two people who actually were over at Smoke's house trying to buy a weed, and they witnessed him and a few other people trying to lift an ice chest onto a back of a truck. And it was so heavy, it took like 3 people to lift it. That's insane. No ice chest could ever be that goddamn heavy, And what's even more terrifying are the people that saw this have basically disappeared. And nobody has really heard from them in like a week. So that's the concerning thing at this point. What happened to them? Just like Naja, the few conversations I've had with Naja, she kept saying, I didn't do it. I'm like, you didn't do what? She's somebody who's definitely afraid. Yeah, thanks, Stacy. But yeah, she's definitely afraid because Sarah made the comment, like, and this is in text form, and I think I've put that in one of my deep dives on Sarah Carmichael on here. Sarah made the comment that Naja will do anything for money. And my take on Naja is she will do anything for survival. That girl is definitely a survivor and will disappear off the grid in no time. You know, Tasha Poplin has a drug problem. You know, there are screenshots of her phone trying to buy pills off somebody that I've seen, and she will do just about anything for money. Because someone told me that right after Marissa went missing, she went on a live, Facebook Live, and was offering $5,000 to anybody who would give information to find Marissa or find Marissa. And this person said, Tasha's been broke all her life. Where the heck did she get $5,000? And that's a good question. Where did she get $5,000? What's going on there? So, yeah. But I mean, and right now, until information tells me otherwise, I mean, my main suspects are going to be Tasha, Naja, Victor, and Smoke. But I am completely open to any other possibilities because, I mean, I am not so full of myself to think that I am the only person with an idea. I mean, you have to look at everything. You really do. That's why I think her past is so important because you can't ignore it. You have to at least consider it could be somebody from her past that could be causing this situation. So, do I have any other comments or questions or criticisms or sponsorships? I drink coffee from Nescafe. Can't see it because it's my Harry Potter cup. This is brought to you by Nescafe, which is actually pretty good. So, anyway, any other questions? One thing I've noticed with YouTube, you can't see who your viewers are. I tried to click on it, it wouldn't show me anything. Why hasn't it been more news coverage of her case, Christina? Yeah, it's a very good question. I said this before. When she went missing, I mean, it was literally like within 48 hours of her missing, it was all over the place. I mean, it was on People Magazine's website within the first week. You know, talking about her missing, which was insane because I mean, it's like, wow, this made it to people. And so you had a lot of coverage, even up to the first 30 days. It was a lot of coverage. I mean, even to the point where the news stations did a special, hey, it's been 30 days and we haven't heard anything. We don't know what's going on. And it was also within that first 30 days that the police made the comment that Sean was a witness and not a suspect, all of that. And then when it became 60 days, they did a special, hey, it's been 60 days since she's been missing. Let's do this little special. But when it got to 90 days, not a word. When it got to 120 days, not a word. And now we're about to get to 150 days, and there still has not been any update. Other than people like me who are talking about the case, I just got a message from a person who runs the Missing Black People YouTube page, Facebook page, and he wanted to cover the case, so I sent him some information. So I mean, I know the YouTube podcaster TM. She had asked me for some information because she just got into the case. I had not even heard of it. She's not even from here, so which makes sense. And I understand that. So I had given her some information, like this is where you need to start, and you can investigate and extrapolate from that point and come to your own conclusion, because that is just what it is that you need to do. Because, like I said, all possibilities need to be considered. And it doesn't hurt to have another set of eyes, like looking at the same information you're looking at, because they could actually interpret it differently than what I did. And I'm completely open to anybody's interpretation of what information is out there. But if you look at just the court cases alone, between the child support case, the domestic violence case, the assault case, all of that. It really paints a picture with the end conclusion of what most likely has happened to her, that she is gone permanently, and it's due to this series of events. Because if you look at it, like in October of 2023, she had filed a paternity, medical support, and child support case against Smoke. She also had filed one against another man named Thomas Elvis, who's supposed to be the father of her oldest child. Now, let's see here, 4 days before she went missing, she voluntarily had the case dismissed against this guy. So now why that is, I don't know. But I can assume, because paternity establishment was part of that case, it's possible she had it dismissed because he wasn't the father of the child. I don't know. But when she went missing on January 14th, 2 days after that, she was supposed to be in court for the same thing against Smoke for the other 4 kids. And that case was dismissed because she didn't show up. Now that goes into the money motive, in my opinion, because 4 kids, if he's never paid child support, they're going to come after him hard for back support and everything for those 4 kids. That could be a great deal of money he would have to come up with. And he has like 6 other kids with other people. So he's got like a total of 10 kids. That's a lot of kids for one guy to shell out money for. So who knows on that one. But yeah, I mean, I guess that, in my opinion, could be a motive for any of this. He just didn't want to pay out the money. And I actually had somebody say, oh, that's stupid because kids are in foster care. The dad still has to pay money. Okay, that's great. Yeah, he still has to pay the money, but maybe he doesn't know that. Maybe he didn't know at the time when they were in foster care he was going to pay the money. And you know what? Sometimes people don't need an actual reason to do something stupid. How about that? It could be Thursday. Hey, I'm going to go kill somebody. You know? I mean, who knows what his motive was? But I'm saying it could be a motive. It doesn't have to be the motive. It could be a motive. So, it's insane, but it's just one of those things that, one of the criticisms I've gotten on this case, and it's absolutely stupid. It's like, okay, yeah, it may not be that motive. It could be any motive. Like I said, it could be, hey, I felt like eating a hamburger and going and butchering somebody. I mean, look at Ted Bundy. Okay, I hate to, I'm not comparing Smoke to Ted Bundy, but let's look at his psychology. That guy was a few eggs short of a dozen. Good looking, educated, but yet he felt the need to kill a bunch of women and go crazy. Go ham and cheese on the whole thing. And nobody knows why, other than the fact that he was probably mentally ill. Because if you look at the history of serial killers, I'm not saying Smoke's a serial killer, I'm just going down this, my mind is just going with this, but I was telling somebody this earlier this evening that, with serial killers, there's almost always a tie to a bad relationship with a parent, especially with men. If men had a very, very bad relationship with their mothers, that usually plays a role with them serial killers. Same thing with women. Female serial killers, if they had a bad relationship with their father, now they're just killing all these men. So it goes both ways. So who knows? We don't know what Smoke's background is. We know he goes by different names. Why? I don't know. But, we have no idea what relationship he had with his parents, if one at all. We don't know. But the man is very brutal, and every person that's ever talked to me about him has said, do not let him know I spoke to you because he's crazy. I'm not saying he's crazy. I don't know the guy. But people who do know the guy, this is what they're saying. He's crazy. So I'm going to take their word for it. So any other questions or comments? Bueller. I might watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off after this. Since I just had a whole bunch of coffee, I'm not going to sleep anytime soon. Well, Christina and Stacy, you've been my two commentators today, so I appreciate it. Anybody got anything else? No, 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 no. I mean, if she was alien abducted, where do you think the aliens came from? Like what planet? I'm thinking Mars. Mars sounds interesting. I would hate it for it to be Uranus. Mm. But honestly, I don't think she's been alien abducted because that would be ridiculous. People would definitely then be commenting on my mental status at that point. She is nuts. She is schizophrenic. She's talking about aliens. No, not like that at all. My older brother, funny story. My older brother, his name's Jay, and he's 11 years older than me. So he's a bit of a he was a bit of a screw loose kind of guy. So I was coming home one night from wherever I was. This is long before I ever married and had kids. And he lived across the street from my mom and I. And he was just sitting in a lawn chair with beer on his outside of him, looking up at the sky. And I get out of the car, and all I hear him go is, "I'm going to see one. It has to happen. I'm going to see one." And I'm like, "What on earth is going on?" So I go over there. I say, "What are you doing?" He looks at me. He's like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" I said, "No, what are you doing?" Because you're sitting here with beer and you're looking up at the sky. What's going on? And he's like, "Oh, yeah. So I've decided that aliens are real. And I'm going to sit out here all night until I see one or until the six pack is done." I was like, "Okay." So I went back across the street to the house, went in, and I sat in the dining room and just kind of looked out the window and watched him. He kept drinking and kept looking up at the sky. And eventually he just kind of passed out in the lawn chair, which was kind of funny. And I went over there and drew on his face because, that's what younger sisters do. So, God love him. All right, so I got another comment from Christina. "It's hard to tell what really happened to them, too, with all of them people involved. That's just too much drama." Are you trying to say drama or DNA to tell apart? Because I got this little heart emoji thingy here, and that's too much DNA to tell apart. That's a good question. Like I said, we've had multiple people say she was sleeping with Mo that night. We have multiple people saying she was sleeping with Jersey that night. We don't know officially if she was sleeping with Sean. We have no idea, or but it's a very more than likely strong possibility that she was. And actually, they can separate DNA like that. Even though let's just say she was with 3 men on one night, all those samples would be in there. They'd be able to tell the difference between them all. Science has come that far. I actually own a Muppets T-shirt that has the scientist and Beaker on it, and it says "because of science." That's it. Science. There is a lab. I forget where they are, but it's called Paragon or Paradigm. I think I can't remember what it's called. It begins with a P. They have just completely gone above and beyond the Call of Duty and like completely blown the science up on DNA, because now they can take a very microscopic sample, like so small, and they can get so much more information than they could like 3 years ago. It's unbelievably crazy. And they've actually have solved so many old open cases because of the technology that they have developed. Like they can actually take a small sample and get like hair color and we're talking like blood. You're taking like a sample of blood, and you're getting the DNA from that, and they're able to just analyze it so completely that they can tell you ethnicity. Like we're talking like, oh, they're Austrian or Swedish or whatever. They have like a Swedish ancestry or whatever, and they can tell hair color, eye color. They can say the probability. This is where we're looking at here. It's absolutely crazy. And now they're taking that DNA and they're putting it on like Ancestry or whatever, uploading it. And that's how some of these cases are getting solved, because somebody's cousin decided to do 23andMe. And guess what? Now Billy Joe Bob down the street that you're related to has been arrested for homicide that happened 30 years earlier because you did your DNA. So I highly, highly, highly recommend to people to put your DNA out there, like on these websites. Like mine's out there. So, I mean, of course, I've not killed anybody, but you never know. But yeah, it's amazing the things they can find out now. It really is. And there's a podcast I listen to religiously called Crime Junkies. Amazing work that they do, and they actually they have a store. They sell T-shirts and all that stuff, and it's really cool. Which I don't own any of their stuff, so I just gave you a plug, y'all. I'd be happy to get a hoodie or something. Just say. Anyway, but like Ashley Flowers, I read your book. It was really great. But that is amazing. But what they do is they take a lot of their proceeds and they send it to organizations for DNA testing on cold cases, or domestic violence charities. I mean, just there's just so much out there that they do, and that's something I would love to be able to grow this channel to where I could monetize, to where I could do something like that, because that would be so worthwhile. That's one way that I could give back to the community by helping donate funds, because I mean that DNA testing on that level is so expensive, and there's a lot of police departments that can't afford that kind of money. I mean, they just can't. I mean, they don't have it in the budget, and to be able to do something like that and get something solved and clear, that would be just crazy and amazing. So, do I have any other questions or comments? And guys, if I'm droning on too much and not making a lot of sense, please let me know. I mean, I can't help but think about all the holidays Marissa's kids have missed with her. They've missed Valentine's Day and Easter and now Mother's Day. I mean, and because they're in foster care, they're about to miss Father's Day. I mean, it's just awful. I mean, and they're just, they're children. Yeah, my heart hurts for them too. Christina, I get that. I mean, I just could not even imagine how terrified these kids are and worried. And, they're too young to be going through some type of trauma like this. They really are. Thank you, Stacy, for laughing at me. I try to inject humor when I can. I mean, it's hard when you're talking about possible murder and kidnapping and missing people. You don't want to be glib. You really don't. And you don't want to be funny, because it's not a laughing matter. But sometimes to break the tension and the seriousness, you have to perform, and I guess in a sense. But okay, so who is like blown away that the fact that Donald Trump got convicted of 34 felonies yesterday? That just threw me completely. I did not expect him to get convicted. I mean, of course he should have. I mean, he broke the law, but wow, crazy. But so Christina, you said, I believe they will find the answers soon to what really happened to her. I hope so, because this is draining, y'all. I mean, I'm not kidding. This is really, really draining. Um, I mean, there's some people in the group that I'm with that are taking this way more personal than probably they should. I mean, they're just feeling this like like Marissa's a part of them, and in a sense, she is. I mean, she's a part of all of us, that are involved in this case, and and trying to find answers, but you have to put a wall up to not get so emotionally involved that you know, emotionally you don't emotionally fall apart. I mean, it's really hard. I mean, there are times I don't even sleep. I mean, I dream about what happened to her, you know, and and that's the thing. I've got one lady that's been reaching out to me wanting to do a search, but I don't have the volunteers to go do that. I wish I did. I mean, and the other problem is where we need to search in Trinity, that's private property. I don't see those people letting us on that property to look. But, if anybody wants to get a search party together, let me know because I'll be glad to throw my hat in there and talk to the people who own the house to see if we can convince them to go look on their property. But, like I said, I've had one person I've had more than one person. I've had a couple people reach out and say, look, I honestly believe she's out there and in Trinity. And that's sad. That's very sad to even think about that. But at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find her. No matter what the condition, we're trying to find her. Because those kids are going to wake up and say, where's my mom? I'm sure they do that every single day. And I cannot even imagine having a child with special needs and being motherless. I mean, my son, I've already said that I had to live forever for him because he doesn't get along with his sisters. And, I always worried, even when he was younger and we knew he was autistic. I mean, I had no idea what was going to happen to him when he became an adult because you just don't know how they develop over time. And he's a strong kid. I shouldn't say kid, he's a man. He's a strong person. And he's fairly independent, but, he still needs some help. So, anybody else wants to say something? Because I'm at almost an hour and a half talking like this. I mean, I hope we find her soon. I mean, there's been a couple mediums that have reached out to the group, and one of them says she will be found in the month of June. So we're getting close to, well, tomorrow's June 1st. So actually, it is June 1st now. So the countdown begins, in my opinion, if that is the case. And then I've had another person who has a very, very strong feeling that she's in Trinity, and I've had another one who's a medium that says she's in Trinity. But one thing that is clear, almost all the mediums that have reached out, it's been a few, it's been like 5 or 6, they all believe that she is gone and that it was very violent. And that aliens were not involved. All right. Well, I mean, I think I've run the gamut on what else I can talk about tonight about this case. Yes, I get angry when people are mean to me and say things on the public forums for the world to see. Yeah, it's a little embarrassing, but you know what? I put myself in this, so I have to deal with it. So I appreciate everybody who has been positive and supportive of all this that I've been doing and listening and giving me guidance throughout this whole experience. And thank you to everyone. So on this note, I'm going to wind this down. And like I said, I've been talking for almost an hour and a half. And I hope you all have a great night. Sorry to have you up so late. And this is Rebecca with Red True Crime. So again, I will say my usual thing. Be weird, be rude, be safe. If you're weird and rude, they won't take you. I truly believe that. And don't stop looking. Don't stop talking. Just keep her name out there. I do know the Missing Person Foundation is doing a meetup, I want to say next weekend, where they're going to be passing out flyers and doing another thing over at the Exxon where she was last seen, or where she was seen getting into the car. So you might want to reach out to the Missing Person Foundation that is run by Jamie Lifford, also known as Doodlebug. But yeah, if you guys want to reach out to her, I'm sure she could probably use some extra hands and some help. Jamie and I may not agree about who's involved in this case, but the end goal is the same: trying to find Marissa. So hopefully Jamie will accept that from me. But like I said, she is trying to get some people together to go, I guess, look again or pass out flyers. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. Or it might be just a thing for her foundation, the Missing Person Foundation. Hey, come down here and support. I don't know. But if those of you want to get involved, I would reach out to her. The Missing Person Foundation is on Facebook. And like I said, I'm sure she could get, use some help on that. So, yeah, I got nothing else, y'all. So, good night. Thank you again for listening, for giving me the likes. I appreciate it. And the comments. And again, be weird, be rude, be safe. This is Rebecca with Red True Crime. I am out. Have a wonderful night.